All right. Two things. Have you heard of the cloud rider motif?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh, the Cloud Rider motif.
Yeah. Okay. Then I'm assuming you've heard of like the two powers in heaven motif.
No.
Okay. There's a Jewish historian named Alan Segal. He wrote a book called The Two Powers in Heaven. And what he talks about is there's this weird thing happening in the Hebrew Bible where there's almost like two Yahweh figures that they point to.
Shalom, Alex. My name is Courtney. I'm a Messianic, and I'd like to be of some assistance here since my friend Than mentioned the Manim, or the concept of the two powers in heaven, for which you seem to be a bit unfamiliar with. I'd like to demonstrate why I think it's something you should be privy to if you're going to debate these subjects. Let's get started.
And he says like there's two Yahwehs. There's the first power and the second power, but they're both Yahweh. It's almost like a sort of proto-Trinitarian view. That's one thing that I'll just kind of put there for now. Another puzzle piece here is you've heard about the cloud rider motif.
So far, so good. No notes. Just wanted to pause here and add, you can look into Peter Schaeffer's book, Two Gods in Heaven. You can also look at Michael Bird's book, Jesus Among the Gods. You can look at Rabbi Akiva's statement, who believed in the concept of the two powers. But let's carry on.
Okay. In Daniel 7, you'll see a messianic passage there about how God will come down, and you'll see the Son of Man come, riding in the clouds of heaven, and his kingdom will be an everlasting kingdom.
Do you think Daniel thought that the Son of Man was going to be God, since he says that he's riding on a cloud?
This is a really interesting point. And
I don't think that he did, because he was a Jewish writer.
I lean on saying yes, but I don't know if I can say that with like absolute certainty.
The
Is that
prophet
fair?
Daniel was expecting the Messiah to be God.
I think so.
Oh, sorry, the Son of Man to be God.
That's a motif only applied to God.
So the question is, did Daniel think that the Messiah was going to be God? Well, what's interesting is I think Than answered the question fairly, being charitable. He wanted to say yes, but he also wanted to say, I can't presuppose anyone's thoughts any more than I can presuppose the thoughts of the book of Matthew or Exodus, etc. We can only go based on the evidence that we see, the data points within the text. And it seems to me and to Than that yes, the answer would be yes to that. That Daniel then realizes that the one who is riding on the cloud, one like a son of man, not he is, always was, will be a son of man, one like a son of man, indicating a specific status here, right? He looks like he's human, yet he's not, which is why by the time you get to the second temple, you have the idea of the Son of Man having a very high status of divinity and other things. So absolutely, I do believe that Daniel was able to see this. There is a textual variant that I'm going to demonstrate and show you why I think when they're looking at this text, as they bring it down and they start to study this text, all of a sudden, the one like a son of man is not just coming to the Ancient of Days. He himself becomes the Ancient of Days. Here is a source just for you to get your feet wet, something quick and simple. I'll post it below. That way you can find it. There is, first of all, a textual divergence between the Old Greek and the Theodosian variant of Daniel 7:13. While Theodosian, faithful to the Aramaic, speaks of one like a son of man being presented to the Ancient of Days. See here. The OG, which is the Old Greek, depicts one like a son of man approaching like the Ancient of Days. So no matter how you slice it, you have one like a son of man coming to the Ancient of Days, having that very close relationship in such a way that, as Than mentioned, was a cloud rider. But then in the Old Greek, you have one like a son of man approaching as if or like he is the Ancient of Days. So what does this tell us? Well, I think it tells us that at the very least, we had textual variants which indicated the highest Christology possible, even to be called the cloud rider, right? And as you understood the cloud rider and the two, quote, Yahweh or Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh figures that's mentioned as a motif that Than mentioned to you. And so the conflation of the two becomes evident. At this point, it is extremely important that I take you into some Jewish literature because I found an issue with your following statement.
Do you think Daniel thought that the Son of Man was going to be God, since he says that he's riding on a cloud?
This is a really interesting point.
I don't think that he did, because he was a Jewish writer.
I lean on saying yes.
So my issue with that statement is it seems like you have been led to believe that Judaism is monolithic when Judaism is anything but monolithic. Judaism today is only monolithic as a polemic against Christianity that Jesus is not the Messiah. That's pretty much it. So no, there are Jews that did and still today do believe that the Messiah is God. So if you look here on my YouTube channel, you will see Elohistim. These are Jews that do believe that the Messiah is God.